elegance is minimalism. Okay, so more minimalist you are in the props you use, more elegant you look. And this, I think, is very important. You know, the fact also when you go very elegant with a nice suit, you know, at the table, or you do like an intimate show, it's changed completely the look, the atmosphere, the perception that the people have of you. Mm-hmm. And this, I think, is a very important point. You know, we need to be able to look at these things in another way. We know we all buy things, you know, we like to buy stuff because it's, of course, it's important for our growth, you know, because we learn from other people. But at the same time, let's have a look how we can be minimalist and create impossible things.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Desert Island Tricks. I'm actually in the studio today, but still doing it virtually, but for a very good reason, because today's guest is someone that's very, very hard to pin down because he is so busy. In fact, seconds ago, he just showed me his flight plan, and my goodness me, he is one busy man indeed. So it's really exciting to have him here. He is another big friend of Alakazam. I know that we've had lots and lots of his items in stock. We've actually had him here for an academy as well, and I was actually just saying to him how much I enjoyed some of the effects on that. They are so direct, they play massive, they're really commercial, and they're all really clever effects, which is pretty much like everything I've ever seen from this man. So I'm not going to tease anymore. You would have seen the name in the title anyway. Today's guest, of course, needs no introduction. He is Mr. Luca Volpe. Hello, Luca.
Hello everyone. Hi, Jamie. Thank you very much for having me here.
No, it's a pleasure to have you on here. Well, like I say, we're very lucky to pin you down by the sounds of it. You're a very, very busy man.
Well, there are many flights going on here, so the next months will be crazy. But
yeah, it looks like it. You've got to really enjoy aeroplane food to do what Luca's doing. That's what it is.
Well, actually, they recognize me in the airports. In fact, you know, when you normally go in the airport with the job we do, we have all sort of weird things in our bags. So, you know, at the beginning, of course, sometimes they stop you, but now they actually recognize me. They say, oh, he's the magician, let him go.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, that must make life a lot easier. I'm sure that many performers listening probably have some excellent horror stories of things that have been in their bags at airports.
Well, yes, actually, there is a friend of mine, I will not say the name, but he had with him the Sword of Monte Cristo. You know the routine. Yeah, and as a hand luggage, you don't want that. Especially if you go in places where you can be arrested. So, you know, there's a big story about it. But, you know, you need to be careful of what you bring with you on the plane.
Yep, I agree. But I'm very excited to hear what your list is. Luca is surrounded by books, so I'm guessing that was going to be a very difficult choice. But we always allow honourable mentions. So you are allowed honourable mentions, as many as you like. But in case you haven't heard before, the concept of the podcast is we are going to whisk Luca away. In fairness, we don't need to, looking at his schedule. He's going to be whisked away to a desert island. When he goes, he's only allowed to take 8 tricks, a 1 book, and 1 non-magic item. Particulars like where the island is, who's on the island, does he have audience or not, that sort of stuff, it doesn't really matter. This is about his ultimate list of tricks that if he could perform them for the rest of his life, that's what he would take. Now, normally I have a guess. Luca is obviously very famous for his mentalism, so I'm going to guess that this is going to be a mentalist heavy list, which I love, personally.
Yes, it is, but there is a mixture, I will say, of everything. Not only mentalism and not only magic, because it doesn't mean that we need to do magic with the magic stuff. We can do magic with something else too.
Oh, very nice. Okay, I'm intrigued already. So let's whisk you away, Luca. Let's take you to your island and find out what's in your first position.
Yeah, first position, I know it's a little biased, but it's not because it's like a interview, But you need to know that my everyday wallet from, I don't know, years, I don't even know how many years, is the Stealth Assassin wallet. And it's something that I have, and Peter knows, actually, when we meet, I always have this wallet with me because it's my actually everyday wallet. And I have the first Alakazam Stealth Assassin, where there's still the branding of the made in UK, made in England wallet, which was one of the first one, and still works very well. Actually, it's, I know people cannot see it, but it's actually here. You see?
Wow.
And this is, you can see, people know because they're only here, but this is the actual, you see, stamp of a genuine leather made in England. I think this was one of the first one. It still works really well, still my favorite wallet, and I can do like a 20 minutes show with it.
Okay, so we've had this a lot, and I like to be devil's advocate. So I'm going to be devil's advocate. I'm going to do what I've done with all other guests. Yes. If you could only perform one routine with your Stealth Assassin, what would that one routine be?
Well, I will personally do a drawing duplication routine, but taking the spectator in a different journey. So I will simply ask him to make a drawing, to hide the drawing in a wallet, and then we will proceed to a journey. Because for me, as I said, it's not the reveal, it's the destination. It's the journey. It's not the destination, it's the journey you want to have with the spectator to do during a routine. I think this is the most important thing. Something that sadly I don't see today, especially in young magician and mentalists. They try to go directly to the point. I always think, okay, if you have real powers, what do? You do by steps, right? And honestly, the thing is that because, we know what the spectator has drew, why not to do it for real? Why you don't really try to push yourself and try this for real? Because you still have backup. At the end, you know what it is. But why you don't actually try to understand and feel what the spectator is feeling? I think this is a good exercise in general. And, there is also people that does like contact mind reading, pseudo contact mind reading routines. And I always say, you ask the spectator to choose a card, they're lost in the deck, and you know which is the card. But now you do this kind of fake contact mind reading, but why not to do for real? Why not to really learn how to do this? And there are, people like Richard Osterlin and many others that they do really well. So it's, all matter of training. So as I said, use wisely all these methods and try to actually do it for real, and make the spectator living the journey with you to the mind reading.
Yeah, amazing. So I think you are completely right. A drawing duplication with a wallet feels really... I've seen some people that use that sort of thing for the reveal of like a playing card or something, right, that it feels too limited. What's the point when you can literally make someone think up anything in the entire world? Yes, why a playing card?
Yes, exactly. But especially if you make the drawing mean something to them. So I normally say, imagine you are in a museum, but in this museum there are no pictures. There is only one blank canvas. And imagine that you start to make a paint. You make a paint, you can do in black and white, or it can be with colors. Something simple, but something that represents your life in this moment. Something that something has a meaning for you. So do you have in mind? Good. Okay, now, as Albert Einstein said, we need to put on paper what we think so that we can reach our dreams and desires. So please take a piece of paper, write it down, make the drawing, because this now is a physical proof of what you're thinking. Okay, so we hide this away so that I cannot touch it, you cannot touch it. Now give me your hands and take me with you in this beautiful museum, and let's have a look together the picture that you just drew in your mind. So as you can see now, everything changed. Now the piece of paper, the wallet, that doesn't mean anything. It's just a physical proof of what they're thinking. But now what is really is the moment, what is the routine now is basically the journey that you're living with them, with their imagination. So at the end, they will remember this. They will even forget that they actually did the drawings, you know?
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely. I hope that you never go to my museum, because those paintings will not be very good, Luca.
No, mind you, I'm not a great, to draw anything, but we were a little bit messy in my drawings.
Superb first start. And that brings us on to your second item. So what's in its second position?
Well, to be honest, it's my Nyx deck. Now, and I tell you why. Because this is my baby. I've been designing this deck with Phil Smith, that we all know is a genius. So designing playing cards and all his systems, okay? Because we cannot say exactly what it is. But you know how Phil is on this kind of thing. We've been working about maybe 8 months. There's almost a baby, I would say. And I think I try to create a deck of cards that you can actually perform anything, because every card has 3 elements. Has a word, which is a motivational words, and I collected the best motivational words that you can use when you do corporate performances, because this is my main job. I do a lot of corporate shows all around the world, and you know, there are words in English that always used most of the time. So I try to use a collection of 52 motivational words that are internationally recognized. And then every card other than the word has a number from 1 to 52. And also the other corner has a playing cards, the corner of a playing card. So basically you can do anything. You can do trick with cards. You can do trick with numbers. So you can predict lottery numbers, lottery tickets. You can do motivation routine. And everything comes with, other than the full video download, I actually wrote a book where I explain a full mentalism show that you can do straight from your pocket, only using this deck on stage. There is a beautiful routine that I do all the time. It's called Words. I do this in my corporate shows, and it kills. I mean, it's an incredible routine, very strong. I mean, if you have this why on a desert island, you have this on you, there is audience or not, whatever it is, but you can perform a full mentalism show with nothing else than this deck. And it took me months to go through, all the design. This is why I really care. It's always with me. And it's one of, I will say, an emergency show. That's it. Your flight goes on desert island. Your luggage is lost. What do you do? But you have the Nyx deck in your pocket. You can still do shows and perform.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. It sounds like the ultimate pack small plays big. Especially if you're doing it for
with the
big people.
time, I will try to go. I think my next step is to go and travel with nothing. Basically, just go on stage, entertain the people, and that's actually a very important point. If we can have a minute, because all the tricks we talk about and everything else you take with you and beautiful things, But at the end of the day, what matters is not the tricks; it's you. So I always think that a good performer needs to be able to perform without anything, just with this presence, with this persona, with this speech. You don't need to be a comedian to entertain people. You can just talk and listen. I mean, if you see the greatest psychic entertainers, if you would talk also professional psychic entertainers, like John Edwards, for example. John Edwards is a famous psychic entertainer. He's not a mentalist at all, but he goes on stage and he start to talk with dead people, okay, if you want to say like this. But if we see beyond that, we need to understand the techniques behind it. He just talk with people, he entertain them, answering questions, okay, talking with dead people or whatever. But there is nothing else. There are no pieces of paper in play. There is no pens. There is nothing. It's just him and the people. So I think I think mentalists and magicians, they need to work on this, on be able to really go on stage and say to people, okay, look, I'm a mind reader, I'm a mentalist, have a special connection with people. I would like each one of you think of a question. When you have a question in your mind, just say out loud. For example, gentleman there, tell me which is your question. I will try to answer with my inner intuition. And that's exactly what great psychics in the past, they were doing. just this, most of the time, that if you think about the shamans, that's exactly what they were doing. They were going in trance, answering questions, that's it, nothing else. So I think we really need to say, okay, we have tricks, we have a lot of tricks, they're beautiful, we all do, we all buy things, but we need to work a lot on ourselves, on our persona, and how to be able to entertain without anything.
Yeah, amazing. Very, very true. And I bet the motivational wording on those as well, that aspect of it must make it feel so much more unique and genuine.
Yes, exactly.
So that brings us on to your third item. What's in your third position, Luca?
Well, it's a gimmick that we all know that is normally used on our hands. Okay, I think you understand what I'm talking about. Now, we've been using that, maybe it's one of the first things we learn when we start magic, okay? And suddenly it's one of the things that magicians now, and even mentalists, they don't use, because there are incredible application to mentalism too. And in fact, there are mentalists of the past that have been using for predictions, like a prediction in the block of ice, for example. There was a beautiful routine using this method only and nothing else. I remember there was, imagine how powerful it is. You have this tube inside a block of ice in full view through all the show, and then a spectator tell you various things, or maybe they tell you a word, and then you have these people breaking the block of ice. You take the tube, you show your hand empty, and from inside you take one single piece of paper, and like exactly that words that spectator was thinking. Now, look how strong he is, how clean he is. And because the method is very simple, we kind of forget about it, right? But in reality, if you don't use it to make a silk disappear, okay? Well, the people don't know about it. The audience don't know that exists. So there are so many other applications. If you are on a desert island, you can make sand appear, or sand appear from paper, or whatever it is, there's so many applications. The limit is only your imagination. And especially in mentalism, it's not an item that's been used very well. In fact, I'm working on some project now on how to actually work more with this tool in mentalism performances. From, it can be predictions, it can be, a bank night routines. There are many applications you can use this, and I'm working on project that will be in the future because I don't have time. But I'm writing down various ideas on how to use this tool. So I think this is a must-have on the desert island.
I agree. It's one of those things just then as well, where if people didn't realize what you were on about at the very beginning of what you just said, as soon as you said to make a silk disappear, everyone suddenly worked out what you're going on about. But yeah, you're right. But just because it's synonymous with one thing, it doesn't mean that it can't be used in other ways. When you started saying...
because lay people buy the box of magic and they get these with the silk. So that's the only way they use it, right? If they use it, because normally, a lot of people buy magic to know how something works and they don't even use anymore. So, as you said, it's a powerful tool used in the right way.
Absolutely. A little bit devil's advocate with you, just a tiny bit. If you could only do one routine using that item, what would it be?
Prediction routine, no doubt. Prediction routine, because it's not used as a prediction tool. I told you, maybe it's been used. It's been written about that maybe in the old books, from Hanneman and, the old, very old ones, maybe Robert Nelson too and stuff like this. But that's the use I will do it.
Amazing. And that already brings us to your halfway point, Luca. Great choice so far. As predicted, very mentalism heavy, which I'm loving. So what's in your fourth position?
Well, I will bring here, that's another mentalist tool. Something that I used in my FISM act is the Grismer lock. Now, the Grismer lock is a combination lock, which is very simple in use. It's not electronic, nothing, but it has that one. That's another thing that if used well, it open incredible potential. I created my FISM act a few years ago when they did a FISM Italy, and I was actually the only mentalist doing a very intimate act in front of 3,000 people. I was, imagine the light went down. Actually, there is on YouTube, if you go the Dream Act or something like this, Luca Volpe, you will find the full FISM act there. And it was really emotional. It was nothing else than a rose, the lock, and a diary. That's it. I mean, you can expect on FISM like this huge production thing, and I was totally the opposite. 2 people on a big stage with a beautiful light and a very emotional connection. It was incredible because it was so silent. You have 3,000 people just fully concentrated on you and this person and their dreams. Because the idea was that she was able to find the combination to unlock her dream. And then at the end, I didn't reveal the dream. I just gave them an envelope, a red envelope with a rose. And I told them, look, inside this rose there is your dream, but you're not able to open yet. You will only open this envelope when the last petal of the rose will fall. So it was very poetic, very romantic. You see, poetry mentalism is another thing that is not around. And I talk about a lot in my book, emotional mentalism and the other ones, is how to connect with people with mentalism. And the Grismer lock, again, is a metaphor on how we can unlock our dreams in finding the combination.
Wow, that sounds incredible. I've not seen that, but I'm definitely watching that tonight. That's definitely what I'm going to do as soon as I get back. Yeah, that sounds incredible. There are lots of trick locks available nowadays that tend to work in a very similar fashion, other than sort of the more modern electronic-y ones, without going too much into it. But what I love about them, and I mean, Derren Brown famously used a lock opening trick in his very first stage show many years ago. Yeah. And I think it's actually part of the opening routine. Oh, no, so he gives it the case. So it would be at the end of the show.
It's a closing routine. And that lock was built by the late Mick Hanslick.
Oh, wow.
Mick Hanslick built that lock for Derren Brown. Yeah.
But that's what's amazing about it, is it can play, like you just said, you used it on stage in an intimate performance, but they're excellent close-up, they're excellent parlor, and they're excellent stage, and it's just a tiny lock. But the fact that it's used to illustrate a larger item, like locking a box or holding a chain together,
unlocking a dream, which is even more powerful, because with the power of your your mind, your intuition, you are able to find the number. Because I tell her, I say, look, your job is to overcome your self-limiting belief, finding the combination that opens the lock. If you don't find the combination, you will never reach your dreams. So and then when she finally opened the lock, because I give the lock in her hands, and the end when she opened the lock, I say, you see, she smiled, not because she find the combination, but because she overcome the limit. She at the beginning she said, oh, I will never be able to find the combination. But now that you overcome the limit, you know that anything is possible. So you know that you can reach your dreams.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think lots of people are going to be looking that up. Hopefully everyone's going to your YouTube. Not now. Wait for this to finish, but go straight there after there. So that brings us to your 5th item, over your halfway point. What's in your 5th position, Luca?
A pendulum. Now, the pendulum is an incredible tool. I actually wrote a show, and there's also a book that came out like a few weeks ago. It's called The Pendulum Act, Intuito. So basically, you with a pendulum, with just a simple pendulum, you can actually create incredible moments. Now, again, this is one of those things when I say, oh yeah, that's just a pendulum, the swinging the people in my hand. What I need to do with that? Well, you're wrong if you think this, because a pendulum is a fantastic tool that the people, again, is not used to it. So the pendulum, when the pendulum starts to swing, when you tell the spectator, look, hold the pendulum, and tell the pendulum to move in circle, and the pendulum actually starts to move in circle, and then you say, okay, now move back and forth, change the position, and then move, and the pendulum will change position, change movements. Well, this is incredible. I mean, the people go crazy. When I do close-up magic, sometimes I just spend my time at the table because the people want to actually try the pendulum in their hands, and I don't have time to do anything else. So it's really, really powerful. It can be connected with your intuition. It can be, you can find the playing cards. Even the simplest routine, when you ask the spectator to choose a card, they place back in the deck, you spread the deck on the table, and you move the pendulum around the cards, and you find their cards, maybe holding their hands. I mean, it pushed the routine to a completely different level. It's not anymore, you find a card, you choose a card, I find it. Now it's all different. Now it's connection, it's intuition, it's completely, totally different. So the pendulum is an incredible, and I have a collection of pendulums. Maybe you have no idea. I have all the kind of pendulums, with witness, the one that you open, you can place a piece of paper in it. I have some handmade ones. I mean, every kind of pendulum you can imagine, I have.
Yeah, I agree. I think a pendulum is something that's really overlooked. We actually had a guest on this recording. Obviously, they're going to be released at different times, but just a few days ago, who I'm not going to mention because I'm not sure when his episode's going out. But we had a long discussion about pendulums and the fact that it becomes something that's not about the performer at all. It's all about the audience, and it's all about their experience and their control over this thing. And sometimes the things control over the person because, it can go either way. It can be reframed in different ways for people.
Yes, exactly. But even if you have just literally 5 business cards and only one they write their name or their dreams or whatever, and you give the pen and say, look, now we're going to try to find your dream with use of your intuition, and you literally need nothing. I mean, good mentalism, I always say, elegance is minimalism. Okay, so more minimalist you are in the props you use, more elegant you look. And this, I think, is very important. The fact also when you go very elegant with a nice suit, at the table, or you do like an intimate show, and you take a beautiful pendulum from your pocket, it's changed completely the look, the atmosphere, the perception that the people have of you. Mm-hmm. And this, I think, is a very important point. We need to be able to look at these things in another way. We know we all buy things, we like to buy stuff because it's important for our growth, because we learn from other people. But at the same time, let's have a look how we can be minimalist and create impossible things. I mean, 5 business cards and a pendulum and the Stealth Assassin wallet and a lock, if you want to put this together, you literally have now a show on you that has an incredible impact on the audience, very powerful, and they will never forget it.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I quite liked is, so some performers don't use pendulums because they're worried that they won't, quote unquote, work, right?
This is just fear.
It is absolutely fear. But one way that I thought of getting around that last year was if there was maybe not as much of a reaction on stage, if I had 5 participants up and there wasn't one that reacted as well, I would simply walk up to them, ask them to open up their hand, put the pendulum in their hand and say, try this when you get home. I think something different will happen. If it does, please contact me. And then I sit them back down. Now, the interesting thing is they go home, they try it, and you get a message a couple of weeks later of people saying, oh my God, how did it work at home? It was amazing. And, you can talk them through whatever you want, but it's a great way to get connection after your event as well.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, it's all about confidence and you commanding the audience, having, and also it's important in the choice of your participant. At the beginning, I always do some tests to understand how the people react and stuff. And I think it's also experience. Because, once you do this job from 35, 40 years, and you do all shows everywhere for any kind of people, you start to find patterns. And you know which are the one that works better for one thing, which are the one that work better for another one, So for sure, you don't want to do the pendulum in a bar somewhere where the people are already drunk. You don't want to use the pendulum. So there are tricks for specific places,
Absolutely. And I don't want this to turn into a podcast just about pendulums, but one of the ways that like just as a option for people if they want to get into it, asking people if they've had a spiritual experience or a ghostly experience will automatically have people on stage that you know are going to be.
Yeah, asking this question is perfect because you, like you said, basically they tell them, like the hypnotist does. Hypnotist say, okay, who has been hypnotized before here? And then of course if you raise your hand, they call you. You know, it's easy. It's a job.
Hello guys, I'm here to talk to you about Alakazam Unlimited. This is the best streaming platform in the world, I'm telling you now. With Alakazam Unlimited, you get access to over 150 magic routines. This is video performances and explanations. We have card magic, coin magic, kids magic, rope magic, mentalism, stage, parlor, impromptu. We've got you covered. All of this for the low price of just £4.99 a month. And you can cancel at any time. Perfect if you've got commitment issues. Yes, I'm talking to you. Guys, you are going to absolutely love it. If you haven't joined the platform already, what the heck are you doing? Alakazam Unlimited is a streaming platform that you need to be a part of. Not only that, there is also exclusive content only available on the platform. Check it out now, alakazam.co.uk. Cheers.
But that brings us on to your sixth item, Luca. What's in your sixth position?
Yeah, from pendulum we move to another thing which is very connected to pendulum, a tarot deck. Because the tarots, again, just a major arcana, I will say, not all of it. Tarots is not a thing that is really not very much used by mentalists or magicians. And I think that, first of all, they create curiosity because, again, if you're a magician, especially you do a trick with tarot cards, it suddenly becomes something different. Now it's not anymore finding five of hearts, even if playing cards has meanings, but it's finding the wheel of fortune, for example, or finding the cards of the fool or the magician or whatever it is. So you actually can transform with the tarots a simple trick in something a lot more meaningful. And also, the people that normally don't believe it's inevitable, but as soon as they see a tarot card or a deck of tarots, they say, oh, please, can you read me, can you tell about my future? So you suddenly become also their readers, a psychic reader or whatever it is. But so again, tarot cards and a pendulum together, they're an incredible weapon.
And it's also a completely different market that you can tap into that I don't think magicians think of. Earlier on, you said, one day you hope to be able to just travel with nothing on you or seemingly nothing on you. And a tarot card, a deck of tarot cards, and something else that you just said is the major arcana. I also think that the major arcana is sort of all you need. Number one, because that's what's most represented in the public's opinion and their minds. They don't really understand tarot beyond that aspect of it. And also it becomes a little bit convoluted in terms of the amount of everything that's going on. You want it to have some sort of simplicity to it. Otherwise it just gets overwhelming for everyone.
And a pendulum. And let's say you can go on stage asking people questions. The people can ask questions. Use a pendulum, finding a card, and you turn the card, you give the answer. That's it. I did my theater tour in Italy. It was funny enough, it was called Secrets. It was long before Darren Brown came up with his show. It was a show which I wrote with Luke Germain. He helped me out to write the show. And we did a tour in Italy with this show. And actually, I had a full section of question and answer where literally I was on stage with the questions into this big ball, and I was moving the pendulum on that and answering people's questions. There was a mixture of it. Was people asking open questions, and it was also me answering thought of questions. So it was a little bit of mix of it. It's a very difficult piece to pull off on stage because there it's just you improvising, because you cannot have stock readings in your brain. You really need to go with the flow. And the best way, you know what it is? Imagine that you're talking with a friend and you're giving advice to a friend. That's the best way to do reading and to improvise as a reader. In that moment, forget that you have an audience around. just imagine that Jamie, your friend, is asking a question, and I just telling him what I really feel from my heart, from my intuition. That's it. That is the best way to do readings.
Amazing. How many times have you come off stage and someone asked you for a personal reading after the show?
All the time. All the time. It depends from the show I do. When I do more corporate, which is more, professional, to the point routines, that not always happen. They always ask me more about, motivational stuff, how to reach, goals and stuff. But when I do my theater show or I do my intimate show, which is called A Magical Life, which is basically the show where it's my journey from magic to mentalism. It's an intimate show for 12 people that I do in specific places. And there is also some pendulum works. And all the time, they ask me to do a quick reading for them. And you know what I do? I just tell them, open the palm of your hand on top of my palm. I move the pendulum on top of the palm of their hands. And based on how the pendulum move, I do the reading for them. No cards needed.
Amazing. That sounds incredible. So that brings us onto the tail end of your 8 tricks. So what's in your 7th position, Luca?
There is my release. It's called the Fox. Now, the Fox folio is really now the Fox folio 2.0, basically. We did the release I think last year or this year, I don't even remember, because we put out so many releases now. And the first one, it went really well. So basically the idea of the Fox is a folio, it's not a wallet, is a folio that contains a full mentalism show, 4 stage, and that fits in your pocket. When I was doing cruise ships, which I did for 13 years, I had the needs of having with me another 45 minutes show that basically was taking no space. So I created a very rudimental, terrible Fox that contains this 45-minute show. Then I spoke with Alan Wong, and together we actually created this folio, which has so many features, which all mentalist knows, plus all routining, all the show written on a book that comes with the Fox, from the opener to the final prediction. I mean, there is everything. If you learn the show, how it's explained, you can basically take the Fox and travel the world with nothing else than a folio in your pocket. And it is a perfect tool to take on a desert island, because again, everything is there. You don't need anything else. And again, if you think about it, all the items which I talk about today, they can actually be all together creating a show. Included, the Stealth Assassin, the deck, the Nyx deck, that thing I said before, the gimmick that we all know, the lock, the pendulum, the tarot deck, and the Fox. Plus, the next one I'm going to tell you in a moment. If you take this list and with a little bit of creativity, you put everything together, you have more than 1 hour show. So what I'm giving to you guys is not only the list of tricks that I will take with me, but it's an exercise in creativity on how to take these 8 items today and create a show.
Yeah, incredible. And all of that packed so small.
Yes. Yeah, you can have a pouch with everything we say today. A pouch which is smaller than an iPad mini.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. All of that as well, like an entire stage show.
Yes.
In a small bag. Incredible. You've already alluded to what your last one is, so I'm wondering where this is going to go. What's in your 8th position?
Crystals. Crystals, like you can see, people can only hear, but the people that you can see behind me, you can see there are different crystals. Now, crystals are very powerful tool. I also got 2 certification in crystal therapies and crystal medicine therapy because I like crystals. I studied crystals, and I think they're very powerful tool that help us to connect our minds, body connection. People can believe anything they want, but I think if you want to think on the psychological side, of thing, when you hold the crystal that has a specific meaning, that can psychologically help you. In fact, crystal is used also in medicine to help people to overcome some, fears and self-limiting beliefs. There is people that give you specific crystals for specific things, because crystals contains specific elements, like the amethyst or the quartz crystals and stuff like this. Now, imagine this. Imagine that you do reading for a spectator, and then you have a bag which is technically called the shaman bag. Okay, you have a leather bag with inside a bunch of different color crystals, and you say, look, you asked me about your inner intuition, you're worried of things right now, and this is an amethyst crystal. The amethyst crystal helps to open our inner intuition. So before you go to sleep, just place the crystal on your third eye, take a nice deep breath, and concentrate, see yourself in thinking on, open your intuition, opening your mind, and you will see that new ideas will flow in your mind. And you give this in a little bag to the spectator, that's it. And that become an incredible memento they will take with them forever. It's just one crystal. So if you know about crystal, which again, you can get so many books or you can go online, buy the main ones, the citrine, the rose quartz, the crystal quartz, all these main crystals, they have a specific meaning. So crystal, rose quartz with love and relationship, quartz crystal can be like psychic healing or whatever it is. You can have all these simple meanings that you will remember. And you can do many things. You can give this as a souvenir to the spectator. I have a beautiful routine where I give the crystal in the spectator hands, and they imagine to send all the negative energy inside the crystal, and then the hands become heavier and heavier. And do you see the spectator, the hands of the spectator going down slower and slower. And then I take the crystal, I clean the crystal in the water, I throw the water. So it's a mini ritual. And then I say, okay, now instead of sending bad energy, you are going to absorb positive energy. And then the crystal become part of them, become a memento they will always keep with them forever. So crystals, again, if you put the crystal with the tarot, with the pendulum and anything else we talk about today, this is your exercise, guys. So listen again the interview, take a piece of paper and a pen and write down all the items I just told you, and imagine how you can put them together in creating something that is meaningful for you.
Amazing. I love the idea of that, the crystal and the weight coming down. I think that's amazing. Now, I've never massively been into crystals. I'm not gonna lie. However, one of my best friends is massively into crystals. And at the end of last year, she took me into a crystal shop in London, in central London. And when we were in there, she said, I'm going to buy you your first crystal. And I was like, okay, excellent. So she gave me this crystal, and I said, well, what does it mean? And she said, it's for work. So hopefully this will bring you some sort of success in work or in your job. The week after that, Pete phoned me and spoke to me about working for Alakazam.
You see? Now, it can be chance, we don't know. But the thing is that now you are connecting that happened with Peter to the crystal. And you are a magician, so imagine it in the hands of a lay person, okay, that has no idea of magic, no idea of this coincidence, that become incredibly powerful. Mm-hmm. And you haven't make any motorbike disappear in midair. You just give it to a spectator a crystal in their hand. So see how powerful it is. They will remember this forever. I do a routine with the keys and the locks, and I was doing this on a cruise ship. And basically, the spectator find the key that opened the lock with their intuition, and they overcome self-limiting belief, kind of the one with the numbers with the lock. They say their dream was to open a spa in Los Angeles. After a few months, she sent me a picture of the key framed in their spa in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And she said, this is thanks to you and to that key.
Wow.
So now, as you can see, just a little item can become incredibly powerful. So when you go out, I think you always need to leave magic. You need to be a magician, even when you go out to do to buy to a Tesco or whatever it is. Okay, you have crystals, few crystals in your pocket because you never know. You can meet someone that you see they're a little bit sad or whatever it is, or you happen that you talk with someone, just give them a crystal and see what happens. You know, you can really change people's life with a little thing.
Incredible. That crystal is still on my desk as well. So it just goes to show. So that brings us on to our 2 curveballs. That's because we never know where these ones are going to go. The book, because you only have one, and there are so many incredible books, and of course the item, because we never know where that's going to go. So what was in your book position, Luca?
Well, actually it's one, but it's part of a series of books. It's the Bascom Jones. The Bascom Jones volumes. I think there are 8 volumes. Or 7. I think 8 is the index one. Anyway, there's 7, 8 volumes. They're huge. And there is all the mentalism that you can ever find in the world, okay? Now, they're very old techniques, but this is not important because in the old stuff, you find modern stuff, right? And there are ideas from the greatest and also the people that we don't know, we completely forgot. The magic of Bascom Jones, I think, is an incredible resource for mentalists and magicians.
Okay, amazing. The listeners know what's about to happen, though, Luca. The listeners know that I'm about to be devil's advocate, because on the island you're only allowed to take one book, even if it's a part of a series. So, if our guests or our listeners were to buy just one of those series of books, which one would you recommend? Well,
now I don't remember which topics there are in each volume, because each volume covers basically everything. So there are topics that are repeated and topics that are not repeated, of course. But I think the first 3 volumes, one of the first 3, where there is the gold dust in it, you know? So I will go with one of the first volumes.
Amazing. So that's one I always enjoy trying to discover things. That's one I'm going to be looking up as well. Do you know what? I'm going to read that as I'm watching your show on YouTube. That's what I'm going to do.
That's great.
So what was your item?
Well, it's this. A Victorinox knife. Pocket knife. You know, because a pocket, and this is actually special because see on the back what is written?
Oh, wow.
The mentalist on the back here. So Victorinox, I always have with me this. And you have no idea how many times this little knife saved my life. First of all, you know, I have glasses. Sometimes they screw the things and you have the screw in it. Second, you have you're doing a show and the button fall, or you have some thread that you need to cut, or you need to round cards, or anything else you have to do. If you have a pocket knife in your pocket, a multi-tool pocket knife, it really saves your butt from many situations. It's incredible tool, and especially if you are on a desert island, how you can eat the fruit. You know, you need to cut with something. So I think this is very good too.
That's great. That's really, really cool. I know lots of magicians as well who, especially gimmick makers and people that like making stuff, that have like a little satchel or a little bag that they take with them, and it's always got a little multi-tool or a little knife in there because they're just so handy when you least expect it.
You never know. In fact, sometimes you go in a hotel and there is some screw you need to do or anything else. You know that you have the pocket knife with you.
Well, that's an incredible list. So we've gone all the way from stealth assassin to a thingy-mabobby that you would probably have on your hand, to pendulums, tarot decks, crystals. We've got the fox folio. What an incredible assortment of tricks. And you're right, that is an entire hour-plus show.
Yes,
right there.
Yes. If you put everything together, and remember, you can take bits of it, or you can put all together. And now the exercise is to try to use maybe 2 or 3 items and try to create emotion, try to connect with people, because I think that's our goal, especially today, which everything is very modern, very fast, you know, social media, stuff like this. People completely forgot about connections. And because we are mentalists, we are magicians, we still have this power that not anyone else has. Because today the only way to connect is social media. You know, there is not even more people approaching girls and boys on the street. It's on Tinder or these kind of apps. So people completely forgot about real human connection. And because we do this job, we can still have the power to do that.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing that we can end on. Actually, before that, Luca, if people want to find out more about you, if they want to find you in certain places, where can they go?
Well, first of all, for magicians that are following us, we have an incredible group on Facebook. It's called Luca Volpe Mentalism Production, which in reality is not only my production, but all the news and live we do with performers. You know, we also normally we show the Alakazam release even long before they're actually released. I always had the privilege to show people in details what they get. Also because it's a private group, and we almost are 6,000 mentalists and magicians from all around the world. And, you know, we do live launches, and it's a closed group, so we can be open about methods, because it's only between professional magicians. Nothing goes outside that group. So this is very important, because, you know, I appreciate I have people doing reviews on YouTube, but I don't do, because I really like to protect mysteries. I like to protect secrets. So I try not to talk, you know, in public forums. I always try to do this in my group, which is a closed group. And there is so much going on. We have special offers, you know, latest releases. And with Peter, with Alakazam, we did also some live launch there. Went really, really well. And then, of course, my website, lucavolpe.com, that is my nom. And my channel, YouTube channel, there is all my live stage shows and everything else you can see from there.
Amazing. I know I'll be spending a lot of time on there now that I know that they're on there.
Thank you, man.
I'll be heading there. So make sure that you find Luca wherever you are. Do you do lectures as well, Luca?
Yes, I do lectures, I do workshop. I'm actually going around now with a brand new workshop. It's called the Pendulum Act. The people that come to the workshop, they get the limited edition book, and they learn a full act that you can do with just a pendulum and 2 decks of cards. It's an act that I worked before COVID in beautiful private houses in Venice. We did 22 shows in tour in these beautiful living rooms in these beautiful houses, and that's the show I'm explaining. And then, of course, I was also available for lectures all around Europe. So if you have a club, they want to have a special lecture for me, just feel free to contact me.
Amazing. So there you go. If you are part of a magic club, make sure you get in contact with Luca, because I'm sure you will have an incredible evening of magic. So thank you again, Luca. Thank you for your time. I know that you're super busy, so it's been a privilege having you on here.
Thank you. It was fun. Really, really fun. Thank you very much.
And thank you guys for listening on this week's Desert Island Tricks. We will speak to you again next week. In fact, before we go, we have a new feature, and I don't know when this is going out, so people may have found it, but you can actually now message in your lists to us, so we can read these out on future episodes. So all you need to do is to go to the Desert Island Tricks website, which is through Buzzsprout. You can also find it through the Alakazam website. When you're on there, it will say, or even on the podcast provider, so I do believe that Apple Podcast has it as well. At the top, it says text the show. Tap on that, and it will send a message straight to us, so we can read out your messages live on air. If you don't want your name read out, then obviously let us know that, but if not, include your name and we can read it out. So once again, thank you all for listening, and we will see you again next week on another episode of Desert Island Tricks. Goodbye.
Hi, Peter Nardi here, and I really hope you enjoyed that podcast. I just wanted to let you know that Alakazam have their own app. You can download it from the App Store or the Google Play Store. By downloading the app, it will make your shopping experience even slicker at Alakazam. You'll also get exclusive in-app offers and in-app live streams. So go download it now, and we'll see you on the next podcast.